Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about Chiron, in major adverse aspect to Mercury in a natal horoscope. As most of you know, Chiron is associated with the wounded healer. It's that element or sector in our lives where we generally can emphasize or accentuate strongly with others, but we often have difficulty in helping ourselves in this realm. And a lot of this, I believe, is attributed to overcompensation due to the fact that we're expending so much energy in helping others in this particular sector of his or her life that we may neglect our own self in this particular area. Chiron, I look at in terms of its impact in a natal chart, similar to a generational planet, because on average it traverses a sign for about 4 to 5 years. And and as far as the house placement, I would say it would be more significant for that reason, with the sign that it resides in flavoring it a little bit anyway. But anyway, the first thing I want to get at is that I think one obvious thing is that if you have Chiron making a major adverse aspect to your Mercury in your natal chart, there is a conflict, and the conflict can be perhaps with the healing, the healing methods or way you want to heal somebody, so to speak, and in communication. It could indicate somebody that maybe is reluctant to voice their ways of healing or helping others, and suppresses it because maybe they'll fear being ridiculed or maybe mocked to some degree. This could be somebody that not necessarily maliciously, but perhaps unwittingly or inadvertently may open some old wounds, quote unquote, in others. And this person may experience this themselves in communication on the other end, as far as people perhaps unwittingly, maybe at times doing it to them, and can be very sensitive regarding this. When I look at this aspect, also, as most of you know, Mercury is connected with like short journeys and neighbors, so there might be, it could indicate maybe some difficulties in connection with these people. I mean, with the neighbors, maybe to some degree at some point in this person's life. Maybe neighbors have objected, or people in their community have objected to the ways that maybe this person wants to help somebody, or maybe this person is often, I want to say accused, but maybe people have stated to this person that he or she maybe doesn't do enough in terms of the healing or the helping of others, and maybe talks a lot about doing it, but maybe doesn't really follow up as much as he or she should. I have the square aspect. I have Chiron in Aries and Mercury and in Cancer. It's a fairly good orb. It's around like 9 degrees or so, but still, I still see it as being there because Mercury is involved. I give it a 10-degree orb. So, as many of you know, Mercury in Cancer can indicate somebody that maybe can be somewhat sensitive to others in communication, and may not necessarily want to be brusque or that outspoken, because Cancer is somewhat timid sign. But we look at Chiron in Aries. This is somebody that maybe wants to help others, perhaps show the no fear concept, be more courageous in their lives, and in fact I have in the 12th house as far as being courageous in confronting their limitations and so and restrictions. But when you have those energies conflicting, you have timid submissive Cancer in square with the fearless outright and outspoken Aries. That's where I think you could have some of the conflict. Mercury in Cancer certainly doesn't want to be blunt, but Chiron in Aries may be someone that might be maybe in terms of being somewhat outspoken with others, or encouraging others to be outspoken. They may be outspoken to others to get their as far as whatever it may be in that person's life. And like I stated, I have Chiron in the 12th, and that has to do with restrictions and limitations. And I might try to encourage others to adopt that no fear outlook with those restrictions and limitations in their lives. But the thing is, I'll be preaching one thing, but the Mercury in Cancer maybe wants to hold it back somewhat. So a lot depends on the person that has this aspect. A lot is on the house placement and the signs. If somebody has, say, Chiron in the 8th house, making a major adverse aspect to Mercury, it could indicate somebody that wants to perhaps help others through, say, something with the 8th house astrology, and this might be a person that maybe has some opposition from others in terms of the way they want to heal, or there might be a conflict within the person, his or herself, where maybe they want to heal in that particular way, but there's part of them that's telling them inside that they feel they really don't, they feel more reluctant maybe in terms of doing so. There's one part in the communication in the intellect which is saying no, but the Chiron is saying another thing and trying to heal that person, heal others in that particular place, depending on the sign and house placement of Chiron. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for Chiron in major adverse aspect to Mercury in a natal horoscope. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about Chiron conjunct Venus in a natal chart. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because a person astrologically is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.